Hello friends, welcome to the summary scene. Today we are going to talk about the art of self-discipline by Kimberly Olson. Summer always used to ask himself a question, why am I so lazy? This question used to come to his mind when he left his dream projects incomplete or when the alarm for waking up early in the morning was left and he pressed the snooze button and went back to sleep. How many times did he think that he would do something big in his life, but every time procrastination stopped him? One day Summer was roaming in his favorite bookstore. He did not have any plan to buy any particular book in his mind. He was just looking for some inspiration. There he saw a book on a shelf. The name of the book was The Art of Self-Discipline. Beat procrastination, break bad habits, and achieve your goals. As soon as he read the name, he felt that it was written for him only. Without thinking much, he bought the book and returned home. That night he decided that before sleeping he would read it. He will definitely read the first chapter of this book. He put his phone on silent, dimmed the lights of the room, and started reading. The first lesson was understanding self-discipline is fundamental. It was written in the beginning that self-control is not only about willpower, it includes developing habits according to long-term goals. Summer stopped for a while and started thinking, yes friend, maybe I never focused on my long-term goals. I just got stuck in small distractions every time. He continued reading. It was written in the book that self-discipline is just a game of habits. You should have the courage to stop things that do not match your big dreams. While reading the book, some old memories of his life were refreshed. He was a brilliant student in his school days. Teachers never tired of praising him. But as time passed, the distractions increased. But now he understood that this change is just a beginning. It will be the real work when he balances every aspect of his life. One night he started reading the next chapter of the book. The focus was to give a new direction to his thinking. It was necessary that self-discipline is not just a matter of implementing in one-two works. It is necessary to spread it in the area of its entire life, so that a holistic and balanced life could be made to pay attention to some special area. Personal health, emotional regulation, time management, personal relationships, career growth, money management. Summer first questioned myself, is it in all these aspects of my life? He realized that his priority somewhere was deteriorated. First of all, he started thinking about personal health. For the last few years, negligence was increased by his health. For long hours of irregular catering and no physical activity, it was gradually spoiling his health. He learned from the book that the first step of self-discipline is to take care of itself, because if the body is not healthy, it is difficult to perform better in any other thing. Summer decided to adopt a new routine next morning. Workout plan ready, only 20 minutes exercise and some yoga. Started focusing on the healthy meals and started focusing on healthy meals. But it promised to himself that the consistency will win his real life. Thought about regulation. Summer had always had difficulty to handle his feelings. Whenever he was wrong, either it would be very angry or written in his book that emotional regulation means understanding his feelings and correctly to express. Olson had advised that the meditation and journaling can be very helpful for it. Summer first bought a diary and started writing the experience throughout his day. He realized that when he puts his emotions on paper, clarity. He also started the meditation so that he could manage his anger and fear better. Slowly, he started feeling a peace inside him. The third was the time management. Summer that maybe it's his biggest weak aspect. Every day, though not spend any stools without spending a stool, and then at the end of the day, it has become all of the time that all the habits have been made from the book that the most important for the time management is the prioritization. He adopted a simple system. Before sleeping, he writes 3 most important tasks of the next day. He also decided that he will first fulfill the works which are most important to reduce the distresses, to set the time limit on their phone gradually. Coming to personal relationships, to be productive and organized, Summer felt that he has made his close relationship for a long time. Friend, family, and even his connection was weakened by Olson wrote in the book that self-discipline means to put an alert in his relationships, that he spent quality time with his family and friends every week. He used to talk to his old friends every Sunday morning with his old friends, and his heart was an emotional support. Then the career growth came again, that he became a successful writer But the responsibilities of his job and procrastinations did not give him full attention. The book taught him that most of the career it is necessary to make their passion their own priority. Every day started working on their writing skills, even if only 1 hour was written in the day, but he never skipped it, he reminded himself. Started to focus on summer to save money, and spending the violence was always difficult to spend on it. That financial discipline is also an important part of self-discipline. He made his monthly budget unnecessary expenses. He looked at the savings and saw that when he took control of his finance, has started to reduce the small changes in Summer's life. He realized that self-discipline is not just to fulfill the big dreams, but it is also important for life to fill life and relax. He learned that it is the key to implementing self-discipline in every aspect. Now there was a new challenges in front of Summer. He knew that many times in this journey, he would have been set up several times. But he had promised himself that every chapter of this book was giving a new direction to his life, and it was just the beginning. Now a positive change was clearly visible in the life of Summer. He started implementing the last lessons of the book in his life. Every day, he started feeling better to himself, but inside him, but I am growing the right direction for my big dreams. The next chapter of the book decided to read the break goals into I jubble steps. It was very interesting because he often thought that his dreams are so big that they are almost impossible to get them. How do I start so big it is difficult to manage alone? At the beginning of the book, Olson wrote a very accurate thing to break the big goals in small implemented steps and even get the most scary tasks. It is possible to get this line descending to your heart immediately. Writing your diary at the writing desk and thought, let's make your dreams easier today. It was the biggest dream in his mind, becoming a best-selling writer. But it seemed so big and scary that he had never worked properly on this. The smallest break in small parts makes them awake. Summer thought deeply on it. First of all, he has cleared his dream clearly. He wrote in his diary, Ultimate Round Public, a best-selling novel. After that, he himself asked this ultimate goal, which small steps I have to take in mind. Keeping in mind the suggestions of the book, I started breaking my goal in a jubble steps. He selected a story idea that he must first start working on a comparing story. To research and outline thought that before writing the story, it will have to plan well. 3 write first draft, shared it in small chapters. 4 edits and improvements, he would not have to pay the time to improve, it will have to give 5 to a publisher or self-published. He thought of starting research, 6 marketing and promotion. He believed that a writer should also be promoting his work. Now when he broke his big goal in such a small piece, he felt that this dream is not so scary. He may have told him to be just every day. It has to be done by Olson, had given another advice in the book, set realistic deadlines for India step to stay motivated and on track. Summer also thought of implementing it. He wrote a deadline for every step in his diary. He decided that next in the months, his first draft will be completed. That night Summer focused on choosing the idea of his story. He made an experience of his childhood story and thought it would be my first book story, and so much lost and excited that he continued to write late in the next few days. He saw that his work was very straightforward, where he used to think that writing a whole book was a great job. Now it focuses on a small part every day. It was more motivation and clarity. In the book, Olson had given another tip. Celebrate so that you can keep yourself motivated to apply it to yourself. When he completed the outline of his story, he saw himself a tree and saw his favorite movie and made a great dinner. This little happiness will encourage him to move forward. It was not easy for everything in this journey. Even a few days when Summer does not feel that he would think that maybe his work is not good or he will never be able to reach his dream, but every time he remembers the line of the book on progress. Perfection, he said to himself, just write right and wrong later. Osnan had given a practical exercise in the book. He had said that Summer wrote 3 of the next day before sleeping. Summer made it a part of his routine every night. He writes 3 small goals in his diary, which took it closer to his big goal. For example, a day's guns were to complete the first draft of the chapter before a story, making the list of some publishers to revive their work when it was adopted, that it was more organized and productive on the day before that. By completing small steps, he used to motivate satisfactory to work day and better. Summer has understood another significant thing from the book. Journey is different. He stopped comparing himself to others. Now he just focuses on his small steps and tries to become a bit better every day. After a few weeks, he saw that the first draft of his story was almost half of the time he was not sure that the work that he had ever seemed impossible. It was now feeling so much well. He said to himself, maybe I can really fulfill my dream this time. This journey was long, but now Summer had come to know what is the magic of self-discipline and small steps. He decided to break every big goal of his life in a jumble steps. Now he was not only moving towards becoming a writer, but it was giving a new direction to his entire life. The series of changes in Summer's life has now moved forward from his thinking. As he reached the next chapter of the book, he understood that he has to work on his emotions now. He started reading the next lemon of the book, The Art Waiting Emotional Regulation. Olson had written that maintaining self-discipline, emotional regulation is the most important. If the emotions were not managed correctly, then the distractions and stresses can stop your progress. Summer felt that it is so relevant to it whenever something wrong is wrong. Olson in the book and the emotional regulation had to understand that I recognize three main techniques and handing them in the right way to understand their emotional regulation and to understand them correctly. Strategies, developing a strategies. Summer promised himself that he will work on these three. If he would learn to control my emotions, maybe I will be able to escape from distract and negative. The first step was to be mindful in practice's book. Olson had written that mindful means to be completely in the presentum. Summer felt that his mind always used to focus on the mistakes of the past or was confused in future concerns. He decided that he mindful will join his everyday life. He first started his eyes for 10 minutes every morning of the beginning of the meditation and focusing on his breath. It was not easy to run away from his mind, but gradually he learned to control it. He realized that when he calms his mind, he feels more focused and centered. Besides this, he made his habit even when he eats his food. Not only his fragrance and texture, not only his stress was decreasing, but it was the second step to see the positive effect on her health. Stress management strategy. Olson had written that it is very important for self-discipline to manage the stress. When you are in stress, your brain is often impulsion takes the dismissal and you get wonders from your gals. Summer adopted some new ways to manage the stress. Firstly, made his habit to the journaling when he would feel stressed in his diary that he is troubled by it. Clarity was found and he feels better to find a solution to his problems. Apart from this, he adopted a new way. Every 2 hours in the day, he takes a break of 5 minutes and completely relaxed his mind. He sees out the window and sometimes he has a deep breath. It will also be passed by Summer. The best way to reduce the physical activity stress. Learned another thing. He listens to his favorite songs while heard his evening walk and he saw that when he saw the refreshment for him. If he keeps his body active, then his mind remains too much work. The third step was developing a positive mind set. Summer felt that negative is his biggest enemy. Whenever he gets a setback, he is self-bashing himself. It was written that it was difficult to maintain self-discipline without a positive mindset. There was a technique given in the book. Talking your thinking can change your thinking. Summer decided to try it every morning. Every setback I am able to achieve, I am the owner of my life. These affidavits have gradually changed the way to think about it. Now whenever there is a difficulty, it is just a lease to learn from it. Before you, Summer adopted another way of challenging his negative. He started the great twit. Before sleeping every night, he writes 3 such things for whom he is a thunderstorm. It went to his blessings and went to his blessings like summer. He applied these techniques into his life. He realized that his emotional response has become more confined than ever. Whenever there is a distance, he returned to work by handling his emotions instead of getting angry or defeat. Writing projects are trapped in a big problem. Then he did the first man, but he remembered his new learn. He wrote deep breaths leap problem in his diary and tried to find a practical solution. that it was without stress. Summer also felt that when he controls his emotions, his relay PS becomes better. Now he was more patient and understanding while talking to his friends and family. This journey taught him that emotional regulation not only strengthens self-discipline, but it improves every aspect of your life. He said to himself, if I can handle my feelings, then I can face any challenge. Summer's life has changed a lot. He felt that self-disc is not just a habit, but a whole lifestyle. But as if he was moving toward his goals, he saw that an old habit was still being obstructed in his way. Whenever a big or difficult work comes in front of him, it seems to be found that the mood is not right. Sometimes he will explain himself, and sometimes just decided that he will end this habit to root. Larson had given some practical strategy to deal with processing. Identifying a triggers to time blocking 3 deadlines, setting up 4 accountability systems. Summer was the first step to work on every strategy. What is the reason for identification? Summer noticed that whenever it looks very big, or when he was feeling the pressure to reflect him, he made a list of those actions in his diary, which he often avoided. And he also wrote that why he avoided the chapter. For example, he will not be able to write good cleaning his workspace, work boring seems to be afraid of sending employees to publishers' resection. When he recognized his trigger, he felt that he could handle them better. He said to himself, he could not stop his dreams due to the main fear or boredom. The second step was the time blocking. Olson had written that one of the best ways of procrastination is that time blocking means that setting a certain time for every work, and at that time, Summer started sharing his day in the block and every hour. It started making a plan from 7 a.m. to 7:30 meditation and journaling, from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. 6:30 a.m. meals. And research have trouble following this routine, but as if he continued it, see that his decks was starting to reduce. The time blocking had made him a disciplined. Third step was that the setting was written by deadlines. Olson that processing often also happens because there is no clear deadline. If you know someone when you have to complete the work, then you focus on it. Summer made realistic deadlines for every goal. He broke his writing guns in small parts. For example, complete the first draft in the next 3 days. Sending to the publishers every Sunday to organize your workspace. When it adopted the deadlines, it felt that the work was not too heavy. He knew that he had to complete a small goal every day. The fourth step was the fourth step. Accountability systems. Olson had written that accountability can help to eliminate the process of progress. When someone else is responsible for your goals, then you avoid putting them. Summer to raise his accountability for a close friend, Kabir. He told Kabir about his goals and told him every week, asked how much I have done. Kabir accepted it happily every week. When Kabir asks him Summer to motivation, in addition to fulfilling his work, he also started posting on social media about his writing journey. When his friends praised him, apart from him, he also made a review system. If I said to himself, if I had 3 small goals this week, I will fulfill a new book for myself. This small reward system keeps it motivated every day, as it adopted these methods of dealing with the procrastination that it is troubled or boring. Instead of running away from the work, one day when he had to write a long and tired email, his mind started to process again, but he breathed deeply and said to himself, just block 10 minutes of time. He saw that in 10 minutes momentum became, and he had written a full email without having to realize that processing was just a habit, and every habit can be changed. He remembered the words of Olson. You do not have to do. Start gradually. The habit of Summer's procrastination started to be weakened. Now he used to feel close to his goals. He saw that whenever he defects the procrastination, he feels a strange happiness and proud. He said to himself, if there's any blockage to reach my dreams, I could not stop any interruption from reaching my dreams. Now it had taken a concrete step towards changing every aspect of my life. He was not easy to book the article, and his journey was not easy, but he realized that the change gradually it is necessary, and it is important to reach the last pages of the consistent IFA book. Olson had emphasized one thing. Self-discipline is not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Summer had understood that this journey, sometimes the person can always learn something new and can become better one day. Summer completed the last chapter of his written book, that moment was very special for him, he started the journey of his life. The story of hard work and conflict was now ready to come to the world. He made my friend Kabir my message. "I have made my book ready." Kabir had answered, "I knew that you had full faith in you." But it was not just talking about completing his dreams. He had made him a better person. He had learned how to handle his emotions, how to defeat the process, and how to balance his life. He promised himself that he will never lose his new life. After doing Summer to get appreciated from around the world, his story inspired thousands of people. Many people say that their book has changed their life, but the most happiness to Summer had said that he had proved himself to his weaknesses and his habits. A new identity was created one day when a young boy was stood in a conference when he was hearing his story and said, "Listening to your story, I think I can also change my life, but will you give me a last advice and I can reach your goals by defeating the process?" Summer smiled, firstly to trust himself. Do not ever think that you will not have anything. And the second thing should always take small steps to break the big guns like I did only one. Work on the thing and keep the most important thing to maintain the consistency that the boy shook the head and felt like he has brought the most important lesson to his journey. As soon as he landed down the stage, he realized that he had learned from the book. It was not for him, but for all those who wanted to improve their life. Now the purpose of his life was not to achieve only his goals, but also to teach the other how he could be found through self-discipline and hard work. New inspiration, now he himself wanted to be a guide like Olson, who could show others the path of his life. He promised himself that his story will not end here. It is just the beginning. And similarly, the story of Summer taught that the change is possible if you keep the journey of Summer to change itself and becoming a better person. He did not read every lesson of the art of self-discipline book, but to take his habits in his life and changed his habits in this process. He first learned many important things. Understanding the importance of the understanding self-discipline, it came to know that self-discipline is not just the willpower, but it is a commitment to the right and long-term goals. He learned how to fight with his fear and negative influence. After this, he worked on the focus on the area of life. He tried to bring balance in different aspects of his life, such as health, time management, career, and relationships. He realized that implementing self-discipline in every field is the basis of its success and balance again. Goals Initu, I taught him how to break the big goals in small Ek Babel steps, how it can be beneficial to divide their work in small parts, and every day took place on their dreams. In the emotional regulation, he learned that controlling emotions is an important part of self-discipline. He used to control his feelings using mindful stress management and great EDW. Worked on procrastination. He used to recognize time blocking and deadlines of processing and deadlines, and all these lessons have overcome the habit of avoiding their work through the accountability systems. His story made a disciplined and successful person is proof that the change can be difficult, but everything is possible with the right effort and continuity.